SFJ 4x4 Studios presents
in my oversized four-wheel drive Jeep.
A Jeep podcast starring industry experts.
Pure monosity. What? Say that again.
With mad scientist Scott Brown.
Use my drill press as a sort of lathe.
Our host, Neil Simpson.
If one light goes out, they all go out.
Filled with shenanigans.
We are really professional with Jeeps.
This is I Speak Jeep. SFJ 4x4 Studios presents
In my oversized four-wheel drive Jeep.
a Jeep podcast starring industry experts.
Pure monosity. What? Say that again.
With mad scientist Scott Brown.
Use my drill press as a sort of lathe.
Our host, Neil Simpson.
If one light goes out, they all go out.
Oh, that's fine. I'm gonna
shenanigans.
talk about them and trash them on air.
We are really professional
with Jeeps.
This is I Speak Jeep.
Yay!
Start it off again. We're starting over.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever, however you are joining us. If you are ready for me to fall out, crash out, and have a general tirade about the shenanigans that's happening in our industry, today is going to be the day. Despite the fact that we're supposed to be having kind of a lighthearted, kind of fun start and conversation. Not quite a game, but sort of. But boy, oh boy, am my hair's on fire, and I'm
Just to give you a preview of the weekend updates, glasses are half full everywhere.
half full or half empty.
It could be worse.
But it's not great. You're going to hear about that today. And I'm especially fired up because a freight delivery that we've been waiting on for weeks, finally showed up.
But at least it didn't
Minutes.
show up during the podcast.
So,
That's true.
literally that's exactly what is going on in this world right now.
Yeah.
It showed up just enough time, 2 weeks late, and right at the beginning of the podcast, just enough to fire me up, but we're still able to do the podcast.
Yep.
Right? Duck on water. Because we're reasonably going on air at time. We're going to have a nice time with our listeners, folks who are listening at home in their ear holes at a later date. We appreciate you being part of this. This is the week before our Easter holiday. Mm-hmm. Likewise, we have a very big announcement to be made coming out in the next couple days. So stay tuned to our social media pages. That will get released very soon. If you are a listener at home, you might want to find yourself following along on our Insta and Facebook page. Additionally, we're going to kind of wean off our availability. Obviously, we know Jeff is enterprising in the bar restaurant industry now. I'm going to be going out of town for the holiday. The guys are madly working behind the scenes to turn out Jeeps. So we've got a lot of stuff going on in that regard.
So if you call and you don't get an answer, it's not us. We're just a little busy and trying to adapt.
Totes my goats, man. Totes my goats.
What I heard was he was going to say, it's not us, it's Jeff, but then he
It is
stopped.
Jeff.
I had to
It is
stop.
Jeff's fault. Let's be honest. It is Jeff's fault. Per the usual. And if you are aware, Jeff is in studio with us, so that's very exciting. Now, joined in Grandma's Couch Studio, my name is Neil with SFJ 4x4. And you gentlemen are here.
The maddest mad scientist.
Very mad.
That really means a lot this week.
Yeah. You've had a week, and it's only Monday, so it's going to be a good one. And then, obviously, myself, Jeff, the producer.
The producer came in this morning. Appreciate you making the stop in.
I rolled in to see you unloading Jeeps. I'm like, that's about par for the course.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a quirky situation. And I suppose it could be part of the weekend update, but being that we have a strong hold specifically in the Pittsburgh and Cleveland epicenters of sorts. One of the things that I am oftentimes, asked about is opening up a second location or multiple locations. And I'm just kind of fervently against that because I believe that the people who are here within this business who have been involved for, quite literally decades at this point, are the lifeblood of the business. They are what uniquely makes us. While all the mantras that we've, kind of made fun of that I share, and the processes that we've established and all that kind of stuff makes a successful business, what makes us unique in what we do as the people. So with that said, we do have the capacity to transport vehicles. And I thought, I've been toying with this idea of like pickups and drop-offs in Cleveland or Pittsburgh or Columbus or wherever. And most recently, we did what I like to refer to as a road day, and did a big urban jump around the Pittsburgh area. Ended up dropping off Jeeps and bringing Jeeps back with me, making a route from Western PA through Eastern Ohio back up to the shop, and was appropriately unloading the last of them today. So that's kind of brings us up to speed of what you found me there, and then the whole missing freight, which was quite literally missing. I have been calling. I got so mad at the manufacturer for choosing this freight company. It was T-Force, by the way. I got no problem throwing them under the bus. It was T-Force. Won't use them again. Totally trash them, because I just wanted a customer service callback. Just tell me where my freight is. You checked it in to Erie, Pennsylvania over a week ago. Tell me where it's at. But they wouldn't even give us a callback. That drove me nuts.
You could have called me. I drive to Erie every day.
I
just load it on the back of the truck.
That's what I'm saying. We could have. I would have absolutely. If it was sitting on a cross dock somewhere, I would have gone and picked it up.
Right.
But I'm sure they had no idea where it was. It was probably buried on a trailer. And this very nice driver told me that they had a driver who called off sick for 3 days in a row, and they once were a city hub route that had employed 13 drivers, and now they employ 5, and one of them most recently was off for three plus days at the end of the week. I get it. Mm-hmm. We understand, and I told him I'm not mad at him. I get it, but corporately they let us down by lacking communication.
So in the comments this morning, we've got Daddy Jeep saying morning, Joe O'Brien morning, Mitch Hunt morning, Billy Joe, good morning, Jugga Jeepers, good morning, Joe saying Nate is late. That is true. John Miller, how's it going, guys? Billy Joe, hope everyone has a happy Easter weekend. And another good morning also. And
good morning.
Daddy Jeep was first this morning. But also, just as a quick reminder, next week is Easter Monday, and we will not be having an episode.
That is correct. And good morning to everybody. I'm not sure where Nate's at, but somebody was able to snipe him because of his lackadaisical approach.
Tardiness.
And, those of you who are listening at a later date in your ear holes, feel free to join us most Mondays at 10:19 a.m. And you too can jump in the comments and share and meet and greet, other people and have a cool time hanging out with other good Jeepers. Now, I do have, before we get into our Harry Potter sorting conversation.
Inspired, so we're not sued.
Inspired by. I am going to attempt, hopefully we can hear this appropriately.
If I would have known, I would have hooked you up to the board.
I know. Good morning. You are on air. This is, you're on air. I'm holding my phone up to the microphone at the moment. So
he's driving our producer nuts. So that's what he did.
What you're saying.
We're going old school. So for everybody who's listening, this is Zach Heisley of both. Can I put both companies out there? Is that okay?
Let's just call it Dana Spicer Corporation.
There we go. Dana Spicer Corporation. And Zach is live from Easter Jeep Safari. And I figured,
yes, indeed, we are here at our first day of Easter Jeep Safari, and we are rolling to the trailhead. We're going to do Rose Garden Hill today. We're rolling 3 Jeeps deep. We got Ginger, our 2014 JKU that's on Kingpin Dana 60 front and a 40 spline Dana 80 in the rear. Some 40-inch tall middos and powered by a 6.4 liter Hemi.
Yeah.
And we got the Hellcat Jeep, which is a JLU. That's got 60s front and rear with a high pinion 60 in the rear. A little prototype action there for you. That's on 40s also with the Hellcat under the hood. And then we have Dozer, which is our white JT. That's got our new 72-inch wide version of our Ultimate axle. So it's got an Ultimate Dana 60 in the front and 40 Spline Dana 80 in the rear, both at 72 WMS instead of the traditional 69. So that's what we're rolling with today.
Yeah, and that's the one you and I were checking out. And then on Friday, you were cruising around in the buggy. So you guys left the buggy home today?
Yep. Yeah, we left the buggy in the garage today. We'll pull that out and have some fun with that later on this evening and later on in the week.
And, you know, you and I have been chatting for years, you know, and I always like to tell people I live vicariously through the Jeep community and whatnot. Can you tell us, you know, and for our listeners, and we've got a pretty good audience today, you know, why does Dana Spicer make it such a priority to do research and development and then participate in Easter Jeep Safari?
Well, I mean, these are our people out here, man. I mean, this is who we are. I mean, we're a dedicated group of actual enthusiasts that just also happen to be engineers and photographers and marketing folks and sales guys. We live, breathe, and eat this stuff. So any chance we get to come out to the beauty that is Moab, Utah, we're gonna do it. And you know, it's more you know, showing people how all of our stuff works, because long before we ever put it in a vehicle and bring it out here, we've already done a complete battery of testing at our, you know, multi-million-dollar test facility there in Maumee, Ohio. So everything goes through a full original equipment level validation before we ever hit the road, and which is something that literally nobody else in the industry does besides us. So, you know, we know that it's going to work. Now it's just a matter of getting out here and showing people how well it works.
Agreed. I mean, that's why we almost exclusively use, you know, Ultimate Series axles in all of our builds. While there are other, you know, reputable axle builders out there, like you said, the your guys' ability to put your money where your mouth is, per se, I think is, like you said, kind of unrivaled. And we've toured that facility, and it's stunning, and the torture tests that you guys do stuff, and then you actually go out there and show that stuff off. One of the things that I had asked you about, and you know, while I'm conscientious, it's a pretty simple answer, but why the 72-inch width axles on Dozer?
I lost you there, Neil.
Oh.
You still got me?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I can hear you. So I was just talking about why, you know, how 72 inches, you're actually netting better turn radius and better articulation to suck up those big tires. Do you know what I mean? Can you hear me about the 72 inches and explain why that might be beneficial?
Yeah, so when you start to get into the 40 and 42 inch tall tire and above, you really got to make some additional room so you have a decent turning radius on those tires, so you're not hitting the frame and those kinds of things when you're trying to turn. It just gives you a little more room, and the wider stance makes it a little more stable, and it's just very, very helpful off-road.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a cool concept. People maybe don't always realize that these Ultimate axles are full width axles already. 72 is yet even bigger. Dozer looks like a full-size 1-ton truck going down the road by picture and video. But now you don't have contact issues that we typically run into on that 40+ inch crowd, right? Or
exactly right. Exactly right. That's exactly why we did it, because like before, if you turn the wheel all the way to get to the steering stops, the tire is gonna get into the frame, especially when it's stuffed. And now you don't have that issue. The amount of additional turning radius you have just because you're not hitting anything, and the amount of flex that you have. We're still playing games with sway bar end links to try and control just how much flex we have, and might be time for some limit straps. I'm not gonna lie.
We've been there, and I get that entirely. And when we're playing with like low center of gravity builds or extreme, extension, you know what I mean, where you have limited up travel but a ton of down travel, it's that fine tuning game. 100%. At last thing, before I know you're headed to the trail, whatever happened to the OG Ultimate 60 Jeep? Are you at liberty to share with us?
I guess I gotta understand what you're talking about. Like the first couple ones to ever have Ultimate Dana 60s was like Bosch, the black one, and Ginger, the red and white one, and I'm literally sitting in Ginger right now.
I know Ginger. And where's the black one at?
Posh we still have.
Okay.
We still have Posh. She got a different wrap. She's got a white Victor Rines wrap. That's our That's our 100-year-old gasket brand, Victor Rhines.
I
She's
did
got a
not
different brand, which
realize.
is why you may not recognize her, but actually had to leave her back this time because we had a customer, which I'm not at liberty to name, want to do a direct comparison between independent front suspension and a solid front axle. So I brought the Dana Bronco out with us this year, and I had to bump Posh off the trailer, unfortunately.
We do have a question from a listener. What kind of flares do you use on 72-inch?
No
What
flares.
kind of flares? Is that what
No
that's
flares.
Yeah.
Where you're going, you don't need flares.
If they're in PA, then that's why they're asking.
Yeah. I don't think you get to have. I don't think you get to run this setup
No,
in Pennsylvania
I don't
or
think
any
so.
other tire stick out fender
Well,
related.
Let me put it to you this way about running it in Pennsylvania. I have run these Jeeps for years in Pennsylvania, and I'm from Pennsylvania. I understand the laws, all right, and my goal is to not get pulled over for something else, meaning not doing something stupid, and knock wood, I haven't gotten a ticket yet, in Pennsylvania or Ohio or Utah because I don't have the tires completely covered. And I understand that some people have a harder time with that than others, but I really haven't had a problem with it because I don't cowboy around on the road. There's a time and a place for that, and it's never when it's on the road.
You know what? And Zach, you and I are cut from that exact same cloth, and I knock on wood. It's just the same because you and I have been around long enough in the industry to hear all the horror stories of people passing through areas, quote unquote. And I'm always like, I've passed through those same areas and not had the same issues. And like you said,
I feel like I'm Paul Harvey when it comes to that. I always want the rest of the story.
Yeah, right. And you were born and bred in Pennsylvania. For our listeners who didn't catch that part.
I was born in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I grew up there and went to high school there until I joined the Army, and I came back and went to Penn State. And then I started, my big boy life and my big boy job, and that brings us to here.
Perfect. And we will have you on air. We were actually talking behind the scenes previously. We look forward to having you on as a full guest. But in the meantime, enjoy Easter Jeep Safari, and thanks for being part of calling in and boots on the ground out there.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it. I hope the comms weren't too bad. But you guys stay safe. Follow Spicer Parts on every social media channel. You get to see some of the knucklehead stuff that we're doing.
All right. Sounds great. Wheels down
good.
out there.
Thanks,
See you,
man.
Zach. Bye-bye. Oh, excellent. That was really appreciate Zach, sharing with us and
That's good that you were able to get a hold of them like that too.
well, Zach and I had pre-planned this, and I was going to wing it if you were not here.
Yeah.
And it was way better that you were. So I need you to be publicly affirmed
because I had to keep sliding.
You're
the volume up
sliding
and
the
down.
volume, which I think was great for our listeners.
I was about to just hand you my mic and be like, use my mic for the dang phone.
Oh, that would have made too much sense. Well,
Or that,
hopefully.
or just grab the mic away from you because I had to keep turning you down.
Yeah, well, that was great. Well,
'Cause you're
that's
so
why you're the
loud.
producer. That's why you're doing the production. Goodness. All right. Well, that was fun, and I wish the best for everybody out at EJS. I felt like that was a very appropriate segue for us to talk about the Harry Potter sorting hat of Jeep ownership.
Not sponsored.
And not infringing upon their copyright concerns.
Did you come up with your own sorting houses then?
No, yes,
Yeah.
of sorts. So obviously, and objectively, I hope that our houses are different, right? But we have the Harry Potter series. We've got Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and Slytherin. Okay, and
I'm
in
actually
my
impressed
book,
that you got all those.
okay, well, so first of all, it's a real big deal in my household. While I am not nerded out on it explicitly,
Well, and something our listeners don't know is prior to me leaving, we actually sorted everybody here into the houses.
no doubt, right? We've done it internally in the business. Likewise, there's like social kind of extensions with friends and family. We talk about, I watch all the movies around Christmas because like Die Hard, they're Christmas movies as far as I'm concerned. And so anywho, like I get it, but But I definitely had my wife weigh in on the conversation so that I could process where I felt people get sorted out into. And I'm hoping that you guys might be able to, to elaborate or kind of think where you think Jeepers fit, for me, I don't have, obviously the storyline kind of represents Gryffindor as kind of the ideal house to belong to, and Slytherin kind of the less than. But I personally don't buy that. I don't personally buy that.
I was going to say, I got sorted into Slytherin, so I don't know how I feel right now.
And there's and realistically, a couple of the characters who are Slytherin, while they are, have the propensity to be on the dark side, a couple of them are some of the biggest heroes of the storyline. And so you actually have this this great dichotomy of like kind of the good on the surface and the good below, but kind of the dark on the surface and the good below as well, And so, but then you have Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff, which are not elaborated upon as much, but equally have positive attributes.
Yes.
Right. And so when a individual buys a Jeep, and they want to do a modification, one of the first things we do is ask them how they're going to use it. Mm-hmm. Right. And I think that that's valuable because we, as an institution, end up being a little bit of the sorting hat.
Right.
Right. That's kind of what I was thinking about. It is, because you can, as the kids are, they go up to the front of the school and they're like, oh, I want to be this. I don't want to be this, blah, blah, blah. And as a Jeep owner, we are attracted to the idea of owning the Jeep and what it can do for us. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we don't exactly know where that Jeep will take us. And we, as a company, attempt to be the sorting hat.
You don't know what you don't know till you know it.
100%. Yeah. Right. And that's where the sorting hat kind of weighs in and looks within the wizard. You're a wizard, Jeffrey. And and kind of expands upon that attribute. So a person comes in and they say, hey, this is what I want to do with my Jeep.
Or, hey, I'm thinking about getting a Jeep. What Jeep should I get?
Totes.
Yeah.
Totes. And I would like people in the comments to self-sort at the moment, right? I kind of want for people in the comments to self-sort and tell us what house they think they're in. Because in the process of my wife and I expanding upon some of this, we actually sorted some of our customers, listeners, and followers in general.
Yeah. This should be good.
So I am curious, before I put that out there, I'd like to hear from folks who actively participate. Jump in the comments. And
did you set criteria for the houses based on Jeeps?
Yes, but we actually related it specifically to the pre-existing houses.
Right. The actual attributes that are assigned to, or characteristics assigned to those houses.
I mean, in my head, if you really use your Jeep, like you out and beat it within an inch of its life, then you're in Slytherin myself, is what I'm thinking. So a certain YJ owner that, likes to break hubs.
He's absolutely Slytherin.
I was going to say, there's no question.
There's no question that particular YJ owner is Slytherin in my mind. And I just wondered if he would respond that or not.
And also, if you scratch the side of your bedside before it's a year old, when you're wheeling it on stock tires, I think you automatically are in Slytherin.
That's also probably true. I wonder who did that.
I would like to categorize potentially all XJ owners in Slytherin.
Ouch.
Probably most of them, yeah. I think there's the select few.
Let's say I know a certain Woody side one that would probably not be okay with that.
That tracks.
There's that red one that comes in once in a while, too.
Not Slytherin.
Yeah, not Slytherin.
But see, the thing is, maybe he actually is, right? And so that all aside, I think was fun, and has the potentiality to to be expanded upon. But I do think that when we get our Jeeps, there's people in our experience who they come to us or at least how I see the Jeep world play out, right? We have people who come in and they are attracted to the idea of their ability to travel across the country, to wheel at Easter Jeep Safari, which is going on, as we speak, to camp, to not quite, I don't know where the overland community falls into this conversation, but the individual who's attracted to the adventure that the Jeep creates for them. Okay. Then we have individuals who are attracted to the build process. Okay. And they like to know components. They like to know the processes. They may even like to be the builder themselves, obsessing over minutia regarding, angles of gussets or, I was watching a guy build a tube chassis, or actually he took a hiatus from building his tube chassis pre-runner inspired vehicle. And I think that that's Ravenclaw, right? So Ravenclaw is really attracted to the
details,
detail, the higher intellect, there's a conversation around kind of a traditional book smart
so you're
type
saying
of experience.
That's the mad scientist house.
It is more of the mad scientist house, right? But it's intended to be more of the proven path of things versus the hot rodding, right?
Okay.
Right.
And I think that that's what we have to focus on. But I think that potentially that type of personality set is who specifically Rockcrawler, Metal Cloak, and Clayton appeal to. They want to show you the CAD drawings. They give you measurements.
I'm just going to jump to the comments real quick because the McDeer head guy says, I hope there's a scholarship for the poor YJ owner.
Well, I do think the pores fit in the Slytherin somewhere.
Oh, dang. But
yeah,
are you if you have an Escalade? Or Yukon or whatever the hell it is.
I think you absolutely are as his toe pig. That's 100% how that house works, you know? And I obviously enjoy poking at Rob Morgan. If one of our listeners doesn't know Daddy Jeep, great YouTube channel, great builder, great member of the community who volunteers his time and energies for Bandom Jeep Heritage Festival, both spring or summer and
now
fall.
Part of the LS the World campaign.
Now part of LSing the world through Amazon, which that is totally gonna blow back in his face. But you want to see him LS a Grand Cherokee via Amazon, head over there and follow him on his socials. Great entertainment. As far as and so I thought to myself, Ravenclaw are the people who really enjoy the CAD drawing and get behind this level of marketing that Metal Cloak and Rockcrawler. You think about Metal Cloak, they an RTI ramp was insufficient for Metal Cloak. They literally made up their own form of measuring system with the CTI ramp.
Yep.
Which for our listeners, sometimes we should do a podcast and unpack RTI, CTI, and articulation in general.
Absolutely. And tell you how none of it matters when you actually go off road.
It's true.
Yeah.
However, there is a crossover from those individuals to what Dana Spicer is currently doing, where they are taking the vehicle out and putting it in applicable grippy rock terrain, rock crawling, this heightened level, or even the Baja scene or the KOH scene before they get to Chocolate Thunder, Thunder Alley, whatever, the chaos ensues that area. But like the technicality focus, right, falls somewhere in there. And then I think that, Hufflepuff is about, making people happy, feeling good.
This is where Scott lies, without question, because he's also the type that, as he's building, oh, that's not going to work. All right, well, I'll just grab these parts over here and I'll make them work.
Well, and I think that there's accuracy in that, and I'm not sure where he actually got sorted in one of those Harry Potter quizzes.
I don't remember.
But Jennifer and I, my wife and I are talking and feeling like Cookie Monster. explicitly, Jeannie's Jeep falls within the Hufflepuff territory.
Yeah.
And the Minion, right? This is, I'm not going to concern myself with conversations about CTI and the technicalities of how much corner travel I have. I'm going to
Just enjoy it.
And I want to bring joy to other people who are from within the community or the automotive community in general. Going to a general car show and you have this vehicle that is thematically decorated and built in such a way. I mean, that's a full investment to say that I want to see people lifted up in the process in a slightly different way than the other groups, because I think that's, ultimately, just like we're all in the same school. What the heck is the school called in Harry Potter?
I'm not even going to tell him. Nope. He's going to have to sit there and figure that out.
It's going to drive me nuts.
You got the names of the houses. How do you not know the
Somebody
name of the
didn't do
school?
their homework.
Please, nobody say it in the comments. We're going to let him struggle with this.
You dog. Oh, I was banking on it coming up in the comments, too. Hogwarts. There it is. Oh, thank God.
Goodness gracious.
God,
That took too much.
Like pulling it.
T-Force pissed me off this morning. Still spiraling around in the back of my brain.
Oh, man.
The shipment left Minnesota 3+ weeks ago. Why was it lost for 2 weeks?
Well, I had to eat some Minnesota salad before I came over.
The owls
Can
were
we
trying
just
to find
put
it to
all
deliver
of
the
Minnesota
letters.
in Hufflepuff? All of Minnesota. And I mean absolutely
Well,
no
you're
disrespect to
confusing
Iron Rock Off-Road.
Because they really like XJs, and that, you already said XJs were Slytherin, so.
Oh, you're true. That's true. I think that's a challenge, with the wizarding magic, Harry. As far as how nobody's ever perfectly in one house or the other, I suppose.
So Giaga Jeepers goes, I'm lost, never seen a Harry Potter movie. So just to give you a quick rundown.
I didn't think we were going to have to do this, but here we are.
Just a quick rundown. It is a school for wizards and whatever they go to, and they get sorted into 4 different houses based on their personalities by this magic sorting hat. So we are referencing Jeeps to those houses.
Yeah.
Hopefully that kind of summarizes it for anyone that doesn't know Harry Potter.
Yeah, we should have done that before, apparently, but I'm glad we did it now. I'm back to our technical builders, Ravenclaws. Our show Jeeps that fall within the light, sound, make people happy scene, I feel like fall within the Hufflepuff space, except for if you're like a SoFlo or a SoCal type build. And I don't mean the company. I mean just like these guys who are like the coastal, like they kind of have an attitude and they like their big dubs and lights and sounds. I don't know if they're as friendly as I think of Hufflepuff being.
No.
I'm not sure where they fall on the spectrum. I think that the average individual who is attracted to the rugged individualism that Jeep provides, the excitement of belonging to a community, who has the interest to do a local wheeling event, but then wants to jump on the road and run to the Carolinas and do an event, or to Florida, run out of the area a couple times a year. I think that's where we fall into the Gryffindor community. I think that's, and maybe, I don't know why I see that being more of the average, kind of the normalized experience, and why I'm associating that with Gryffindor. But it becomes kind of I would say the heartbeat of Jeep ownership.
I think Gryffindor likes an adventure, and that's where that falls. I mean, Jeeping is an adventure. Mm-hmm. So that's why you're probably, your core group is under that.
That's fair.
And then you kind of branch out from there.
That's fair. And I thought, what other attributes are there? Because obviously we ask our customers, when we have customers come in who love the mud, and I'm just like, where? Now, this has nothing to do with the Harry Potter stuff, but when it comes to off-road enthusiasts, we sort ourselves out as well, right?
Yeah.
There are people who love rocks.
Yep.
There are people who love mud.
Yep.
That's absolutely a thing.
The water fording is another one.
There is water fording.
It's less than the mud or the rocks, but there are people that absolutely just love driving down
Love
rivers.
water crossings.
Yep.
There is the Overland crew.
Yep.
The Hearst Purrs crew.
There's the Hearst Purrs crew.
Yeah.
And that kind of transitions into rocks and really using your Jeep.
And I'm going to say it. Maybe we have to bleep it later. But the shitbox crew.
And that is
XJ's.
totes, right? I mean, and that is a thing. We talk about that group, and that seems to me that oftentimes that's almost like the folks who live for the weekend at their local wheeling watering hole.
Yep.
Right? So they're not, and this is what I stinking love about Rustington, the TJ, right? Like, I love, and this is, I think, what's really, really challenging about me is that I find myself not perfectly fitting into any one
You just
category.
need a garage that's 100 by 100, and you have one of each.
And that is the problem that I find
you just
myself
have Hogwarts.
Yeah, and that's the problem that I find myself in is that, like, I
the
love
nice thing when you have a clapped up POS Jeep, you're just happy that the basic needs are met.
Yeah.
Like, it starts up, and you're like, good Jeep.
Good Jeep.
Good Jeep. Went down the road. Good Jeep.
My
Made
bar
it
is so low when I'm in that Jeep.
Made it outside my general comfort zone. Good Jeep.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a Comanche that I was just proud of it every day when it started.
This is why he's Hufflepuff.
And then Neil broke it.
Well, that's true.
Why does that not surprise me?
I took it to the limit. I beat it. I beat that dead horse beyond its grave.
Yeah.
That's
Probably more than
100%.
once.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I started up. It was broken at the frame in the middle at the end there, and it would like flex as I moved it.
Oh, geez.
It was independent frame articulation. No doubt. So what other house is there besides? And that's what I was saying is like those folks, they wheel locally. They have no intention. I would not get in Rustington. I have no intention of owning Rustington and believing that Rustington could be the Jeep that I go and do Moab in. It's
Thank goodness.
it has now.
You would absolutely try it.
Now I would absolutely try it if I was trailering out there.
I know.
right?
There's no doubt in my mind that you would try it.
But we encounter folks who have these beat within an inch of their life vehicles, and they might live on a trailer or they might live close to a trailhead, and they live for the weekend and the shenanigan aspect of it. They're not, God love a number of our customers who do JJUSAs. They look forward to JJUSA adventures once, twice, 3 times a year. Joe Harper, I don't know, 11 times a year.
All of them.
All of them.
Yep.
But there's a expectation.
He's a Slytherin of the JJUSA.
He kind of is.
Because you have like I want to go out and just dip my tires in the thing, and I'm cool because I do a JJUSA kind of guy in JJUSA.
You can take a bone stock Rubicon out there.
And then you have I'm going to roll it over 3 times and shock and appall the
Terrify the person with the 2025 Rubicon that's out
absolutely.
there.
There's absolutely a house of people that just like to roll their Jeeps.
Yes.
And then there's actually, that's categorized too. We Tom Sable told us the categorizations of a rollover versus a flop.
Yeah.
Yes.
Versus there's
Absolutely.
a whole
Yeah, because we
science
brought
to
up
this
like,
now.
oh, you rolled your Jeep, and he's like, oh no, it was only 45 degrees.
Yeah, so it was a
or
flop.
50 degrees.
It was a flop. Yes. Yeah. it was not a full roll. It was not an on the lid conversation. And that takes the buggy scene is a whole other crowd.
Yeah, there was a whole
of
thing
off-roaders.
where if it landed on the lid, it was one thing, but if it actually made it all the way over to the wheels again, it was a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
He
That's
had
a
it all
true
broken
roll.
down.
That's a true roll.
Right.
And I think what's fun or interesting, and I want to make sure that we bring up in this conversation by extension, is 20 years ago, as a community of off-roaders, we were able to separate ourselves better socially via forums. Mm-hmm. I think the challenges with the social pages of explicitly Facebook and then kind of the watering down of everything else you ended up getting these more broad and generalized categories where people felt like they fit into more.
Because it's easy now to just go create your own group.
Yes.
So when I get upset in this group, I'm going to do a version of it over here.
Right.
And
how many versions of the JK owners, JK lovers, official JK 2007 to 18?
Yeah. But there's only one Blue Jeep crew.
There. That's true. That's actually true. Which is actually a really well run group. Yeah.
Pirate 4x4 Slytherin.
Yeah.
And that is exactly where I wanted to go with this
I don't want to be
conversation.
associated with that one, but yes, that's so
exactly where I wanted to go with this conversation. Is back in the day, we used to know that of the sorting hat of the off-road industry, if I wanted to get into hardcore conversation, be it technical, adventure oriented, or even just like comparing angles, which I guess is technical, you were going over to pirate. But you had to have a thick skin, right?
It's just for if you were in the flat fender specific thread under it. You still had to, you couldn't be like, I'm a restoration guy and go in there. But that's where I hung out all the time when I was going to the pirate. I don't know. Way too long
I hung
ago.
out in the axle categories all
Makes
the
sense.
time. I mean, I wanted to know everything about tons and Dana 44s and the history and the lineage of the
and
production.
you go in there and be like, I have a Dana 35, and they light you on.
Oh, oof. I mean, you could have never broken that 35 a day in your life.
Oh.
And you were lower than dirt at that point,
Yes.
you know? But then we had, there was Jeeps Unlimited was a forum at that time.
Yep.
We had Comanche Club.
Yep.
We had the Naxja, which actually Naxja still exists.
Yep.
It's still muddling along better, in my opinion, than a number of other ones. Jeep Forum.
Yep.
Now, I need people to know that I'm actually still signed up on these forum updates, so I get periodic emails from them. And this is actually part of what inspired me to have this conversation, because 20 years ago, we sorted ourselves out. And of course, like you said, I need the garage where I can have them all, because I hung out in Jeep Forum. I hung out in Pirate.
Can't do Jeep for him.
And that was the thing. I got so excited. I just smacked the mic into my face.
I saw that.
I hung out in Jeep Forum, and you could ask me, and this is the difference. You could ask me. I had no problem being in the same page answering how much lift do I need to put 35s on my JK. 101 times. I kind of never got tired of it unless I was kind of like that moment.
I
at night.
started to twitch.
And I had no problem, and I could go in there and I could dabble with the newbies and not insult anybody or be offended that they should ask the same question or not know how to use the search bar. Whereas if you did something like that in in Pirate, they were going to make you pay for that, you know,
As they should.
and if you were into Hirschpers, do you remember Yellow Bullet?
Yes.
Yellow Bullet had Jeep stuff in there. Of course, it was only horsepower. It was only horsepower.
Primarily race car
It was
stuff.
primarily hot rod race car stuff.
Yep.
But we used to sort ourselves via these forums by how the culture of that forum was and what our own interest was.
And then you had the CJ2A forum, which is still around,
Yep.
soldiering along.
Soldiering along. That's because those guys barely know how to turn on their computer. So it was a monumental thing 20 years ago when they joined the forum.
Absolutely.
Oh, they don't know how to switch out of it now.
It's just stuck on their desktop browser. And they go into Geek Squad, and all they know is they just need this to show up on their new desktop
They're like,
every
hey,
single time.
Did you get the email we sent you for your service? No, all I see is Jeep stuff. I don't see where is it? Where would it be in this list of Jeep stuff?
Right?
No, your email's a separate window. What's that mean?
Well, and actually that brings me back to the pirate and the sorting hat and this conversation, because you used to have some really thick skin but you could get some just amazing technical information, where the social pages move so fast and they're so superficial at this point, right? The Facebook pages, the Instagram filter life, it's all so superficial. We don't ever deep dive like we once did in the forums, in my opinion.
I mean, one of the coolest things was you would get on and you would see a build that would just next level fabrication and thoroughness and that kind of stuff. And you got into it late enough that you could go back 30 pages
right?
and watch it from the beginning. That is something we have lost with social media. That's so hard now to be able to follow that
thread, that build sheet,
Yeah.
the conversation regarding how.
Oh yeah, you can literally be looking at it and accidentally bump something and it's gone forever. You'll never find it again.
Absolutely.
And or the individuals involved within the thread, it just so can easily go off the rails.
Yep.
Yes.
With just little blip, short attention span, lack of context commentary.
Yep.
And then people become so offended or enraged, and then the whole stream goes off.
and the
Whereas
crazy
forums
part-
had mods that,
And the crazy part is I think that for those dedicated builders that I kind of was attracted to their builds, they had the patience to do a thread that encompassed the whole build, but they kind of don't have the patience for social media. Very rarely do I see a really hardcore build showcased on social media
anymore.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They don't have the patience for the quick in and out stuff. They want to have that dedicated long record.
And there's such a pushback in that commentary when you are doing a finite build. There used to be more discussion and arguably maybe a decorum that existed within the forums because it felt a little more community oriented than the social pages.
Absolutely.
I was looking for a screenshot, but one of the things that occurred to me was Pirate sent me. Now, it's important to note that all the forums got bought out 15 years ago. All the forums got bought out by large media conglomerates. And then they started selling the ability to moderate pages, censor posts, spam users, and so on and so forth. And so a lot of this stuff was highly curated. They took a community-based environment in the forums, and then they started to highly curate it from a kind of a profit standpoint. So I got an update email from Pirate within the last month about and this was like hey, you might be interested in this thread.
Yeah.
And it was on the value of a Honda CRV. And it was just like, Honda CRV market, has increased.
I saw that too.
And I just thought to myself, how the mighty have fallen.
Yes.
Right? We
Someone is rolling over.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's people who were involved in Pirate back in the day who this is not a post that ever belonged in this house of in this house of membership.
And it's also crazy. Because we have transitioned through that, I have seen some forums try to go to social media and crash and burn hard.
Sure.
It's just such a different, and it's crazy because it doesn't seem like it should be different, but it is so different.
It is, and that's part of the sorting hat conversation, because there are individuals who had the patience and the interest in being involved in the forums, and there are people who, realistically, I think back to Jeep Mafia days, that particular club. There was another JK oriented one, I thought. Twisted. It spread like wildfire. But because of the superficial connections through social media, and those individuals were not particularly hardcore off-roaders initially.
It was like Twisted Jeepers or something like that.
Maybe it was, something like that.
I remember that.
Well, and back then too, if you had a club, you had to have a forum as part of your club.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that was right at the cusp where social media started to take off, and some of those clubs were like, hey, we actually don't need the forum anymore.
Yes.
Right? But because you had a club, you had to have a forum previously, and then social media kind of created this segue where Jeep Mafia, Twisted Jeepers, and then there was a JK Owners, and they sorted themselves out because eventually Jeep Mafia really was more of the, hey, we want to do the meet and greets. Well, and people can correct me if I'm wrong, but this was my
Your take on
my take on things was eventually this group was like, hey, we want to do the meet and greets, we want to do the social things. If we do a trail ride or an adventure, it's going to be more of the easier badge of honor trail stuff. And then there ended up being a JK owners group, and I'm drawing a blank on that one, but I know that like
He just insulted a bunch of people when he called the Trail of Honor group.
it's doing the Rubicon, folks. I mean, I can do it in Rustington. It's not a hardcore trail. Slytherin Rob Morgan is not going to worry about doing the Rubicon. It is. We do it because
it's the Rubicon.
Because it's the Rubicon. We do the badge of honor trails because they're the badge of honor trails. We don't do them because I'm driving a rock buggy and I'm trying to pick a hard line. Malik Motorsports out doing the rock racing stuff. He is doing technically proficient. Rock crawling, dropping off ledges.
He could do the Rubicon Trail in his sleep.
Correct, and that is part of this conversation. He has found himself in a position where he wants to do the competitive rock maneuvering. We used to do that. Erie Jeep people prior to at Tom's Trails had comp courses set up. That they did more comp runs,
but they also had an RTI ramp.
They did. But like Fred Motice was not exactly doing, he was not exactly doing trail riding, which I love. Which the three of us in here, we love trail riding.
Yep.
East Coast wheeling. We talk about our sorting hat is tight, technical, wooded trails. Mitch Hunt and I Mitch and Mickey love getting in the Jeep, taking the 2-track trails through wooded, a little bit of slop. Come up out of the creek bed, make a tight turn. Yep. You get a little bit of everything. But we were talking, doesn't love sand. I love sand. Joe O'Brien and I, we could wheel Scott Lindquist and who owns Chuck Norris now. We could go down to the Outer Banks, air down, drive around on the sand for days, and I'm going to be tickled as can be. And it's interesting because there are people like that. Where then there are people like,
All I know is Greg hates you right now for that.
The sand?
The sand.
Oh, 100%. Well,
he talks about beaches out of Jeeps all the time because of the sand that falls out of them.
100%. 100%, And I had said something, and Mitch was like, I got to be honest, you're not going to be thrilled about this. I don't love the dunes. I don't love the sand. You know what I mean? And I was like, that's part of it. Like, how are you, and again, come back full circle to us being the sorting hat, how are you going to use your Jeep? Right? Yep. Because if you don't love sand, but you do love water crossings, this goes back to our fording conversation, maybe we need to be more conscientious about how we seal your vehicle up so that you can get in the water a little more safely, right? What you love the adventure of running out and you're going to do the Rubicon? Okay, we don't need to build you a rock buggy, but we do need to build you something that will get you there safely, robust enough to traverse it, and then come back.
Another demographic is the ones that like a curated, like you should do this, and you do that. We're all going to be in a little group. And
JJ USA is curated.
Where that makes my,
Oil Valley Jeeps running through 10 mile through 2 mile. Beautiful park, beautiful establishment. Thank you for opening that for us folks. But curated experience.
I can't do
Everybody goes in this direction.
No, you'd much rather lead us into a mud hole in the back corner of the woods where we all tried to avoid.
Happen.
I can't speak. I totally did this too.
I'm just out for a good time.
Right?
I'm going to get lost. But that's sorry if you're following behind me.
Yeah. And that's exactly those guys living for the weekend. Not the weekend warrior, but the crap boxes. They don't want the curated. They're not necessarily trying to go to JJ USA. They're not trying to go to a curated ride.
They just want to go out the woods and flog on it.
Correct. And that's a guy.
Just don't want to get told what to do.
Yeah.
Welcome to America. I'm curious as to if there's any other categories that our customers have, kind of thought up themselves. I find myself at a point in my life in the last few years really at a little bit of a struggle to figure out which direction I want to go in. Obviously, I scratched that last itch with Chuck and tons and 40s, and more fun with tons and 40s is I'm a firm believer in it, but I find myself wanting to go fast more than ever.
I mean, that is fun.
And And you scratched that itch when you're getting younger into cars,
Yep.
and now you're kind of out of it.
Yeah.
You know,
Going fast is expensive.
okay. I mean, you look at some of our big over the top, builds that have to drive across the country and back. Those are expensive. That's what I'll call the Gryffindor builds. The ones that have mass and broad appeal. I'm not exactly sure where I find myself these days. Because as you mentioned, I have a propensity to like all of them. But I am curious to hear how people elsewhere find themselves sorted into it. And we'd love to hear from you in the process. You can always reach out to us, contact CONTACT at sfj4x4.com. Or you can text us on our text-only thread. We said we're going to talk about CTI, RTI, and articulation in the future.
Yep.
We've got a couple other topics. Last week, obviously, we talked about plastic and engine bay and all that kind of good stuff. Some conversations to follow up with customers because they've reached out to us being like, I shouldn't have all aluminum. It's a little bit of the eye of the beholder, but again, as far as our sorting house is concerned, I don't think that's to be a priority.
There's a time and a place for it.
Yeah, and I certainly don't find that to be a heightened priority at this time. Anything else?
We got Daddy Jeep saying he still uses his RTI ramp a lot for its original intended purpose, and we'll break that down in that episode.
Shots fired.
John Miller says he still has muscle cars. Bradford said we were oil and gas exploitation mode this weekend. So
I think it was exploration, but he was saying exploitation. So I hope that he wasn't out there siphoning gas off like petro off the wells. If he was, None of us are privy to it.
Right.
none of us are privy to how much oil you had for the heat this summer. Or whatever.
No doubt.
Ken said good morning. So
Good morning to everyone. We appreciate people joining us. We are going to transition out to the, to our weekend updates. And if you want to stay through the credits, you can join us for that. We are off again next week. If you're out on the trails at Easter Jeep Safari or, enjoying that life, kudos to you. We have about a bajillion Jeeps under our care, and we've only run into major logistics setbacks from shipping, manufacturing, and distribution. Stuff that realistically is still the new normal from 6 years ago at this point. And I don't understand it.
You can tell everybody's ready for a break. Yeah,
But
nationwide.
But none of us seem to be getting it.
Yes.
I don't understand how that's going to fly. And I am happy that we actually have we had 4 Jeeps tied up in one suspension order. They were building parts for it, which delayed it and So hopefully we'll be able to start to move forward now in life. But we got a lot of Jeeps to work on. So until next time,
Jeep on.
Jeep on.
Jeep on. It didn't do it.
Do. Since we didn't have an SD card in the soundboard, does that mean that it just didn't record in there?
Yes.
Okay.
That means that Davey has to do it off the
computer.
computer.
It'll be fine.
Yeah. But
We're going to figure this out. But that's just totally Davey's fault for being on vacation right now.
yeah.
Absolutely.
It was your fault before when you took the SD card with you.
Yeah. I'll take that blame. But he has other SD cards he could have used.
Totes. And obviously he didn't put the SD card back.
Yeah.
That's the other piece of this. So
Yeah.
it's fine.
That's okay.
He'll get it off the computer. That's a part of his job.
Yeah.
But he should be back here soon. And then I'm headed out of town for a few days to disconnect myself.
I heard you
In
were
the
going
meantime,
down to Charleston.
I am going down to Charleston. Looking forward to South Carolina.
Yeah.
And
Such a fun place. Have you done the ghost tours there?
when I was a wee lass,
Lass.
What?
I think I was a lad.
Okay.
Yeah. That was, you tried to do it in such a manly voice, too, and then you went straight for last.
Last.
It's a lad.
It is a last.
Hindsight being 2020.
That isn't a soundbite, then there is a problem. And I will be upset about all the sound bites that I get taken of.
Oh, God. Okay. When I was a wee lad, my grandparents took me traveling, and we did a historic tour. And in the daytime, they do history tours. And at the nighttime, those same tours would do a haunted tour.
Yeah.
And of course, the daytime tour can't help but mention certain paranormal activity, but it is not focused
Right.
at the haunted rides.
The haunted rides are really cool.
And I have these lofty ambitions, and I'll probably just like turn my phone off is probably more so what I'll do. But I have these lofty ambitions of like, maybe I'll catch a minor league baseball game, and maybe we'll do one of those tour rides. I will probably like do none of it and just like sleep in a hammock in the Carolina sunshine. You know,
I think you need to take your kids on one of the tours.
You know, it might be. I've been wanting to do it for a couple of years.
Don't give him pressure. He's going away from pressure.
Yes.
Well, I'll put the pressure on.
Yeah.
More pressure.
I think that the tours are super fun.
I'm just going to text you randomly. Did you go on the tour yet?
Right?
Definitely shutting his phone off now.
And of course, you know, we can't. My wife's a Pisces, so we can't go near water without her being, you know, gravitationally pulled
In
to
it.
Yeah.
in it. So we'll be at the ocean front, even if it's like last time we were down there, it was breezy and like 50, and like everybody who was local had like sweaters and like sweatsuits on, and like my kids were in the water, my wife was swimming, you know, and so we'll sort it out. But
Yeah.
looking forward to doing that myself. This past weekend, I got to be honest with you guys. So those of you who were following along know Jeffrey has made his departure in his full-time capacity away, and then we used to have a guy who could run truck for us. He is no longer with us in that part-time capacity. I was out in the truck running around on Friday. I got back in Saturday. This weekend, I was able to get back into the homestead stuff, and I actually have found myself finding it to be rather therapeutic to do siding. I am really finding joy in siding. It made me think of you, Jeffrey.
And siding?
Yeah.
No.
And how I think that maybe we need to just like say like this is going to be the day or the time this summer, and finish up that one peaked area that is like impossible to get to on your house.
I mean, to be fair, it's not the siding, it's the height and
the pitch of the roof.
and pitch of the roof
On a metal roof.
of
That's the
getting
problem.
to
The
the
metal
where you
roof.
need the side. If you could just side down where you're comfortable,
Yeah.
wouldn't be a big deal.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. But you have to like figure out angles. You have to figure out the angles of the dangles and
so on the-
pathetic.
It's about a 30-degree angle. I already know that part.
for the siding itself.
Yeah.
But then you got to be able to cut it in the air and all that kind of stuff. And I thought we just need to rip the Band-Aid off and like
since he isn't leading up to liking these height things, I think he has to do your peak, and then he has to come over and finish painting my house where I've
Well, he's talking about doing the peak at my house.
I know.
Yeah.
that's what he's saying.
saying.
Oh, yeah.
So after I precariously dangle
don't
on your
die
metal roof,
at your house,
Right.
Then you can come, and mine will be a cakewalk because it's not as high. But I was so tapped out, I was like, nope, not going any taller.
That's funny.
yeah, that's what his suggestion
And if he's
is.
still able and with us and not broken, then you can help do roofing on the building.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm not looking forward to any of it.
Anyway,
Nobody's looking forward to roofing on that building.
I did some siding, and I find myself kind of obsessively thinking on it, and learning, and again, I think that's part of what attracts us to our Jeeps.
Yeah.
And we just happen to turn our hobbies and our passion hobbies into a
We just don't
business.
know how to turn it off.
We don't know how to turn it off. And I love working on Jeeps. My big problem is I'm struggling to figure out what house I fit into, and then financially where I want to pursue that.
Yep.
Because Rustington is in my opinion not worth the investment.
Yep.
I did not get the limo out, but I'd love to do something with the limo. But I keep thinking like, oh, I'm going to get it out and go cruising around, and yet I'm not, prepared to rip the engine out. Greg was like, oh, I need to figure out something to do with this LS, and I thought, ooh, I know what to do with this LS. I will put the RV cammed LS in the limo.
Oh boy.
That's probably not going to happen, but I'm inclined to do that. I really want to stuff a Hemi in my Jeep, but I'm like, and I see this is a problem. I keep wanting to just V8 things, and of course, then I'm watching Rob LS the World via Amazon, and I'm like, oh, I like his ideas, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm like, I don't actually have time to do any of this with, I don't know, 11,000 Jeeps in the parking lot and a homestead that's fully building, and then this 250th America and our 4th of July parade for Jeeps and all that kind of stuff coming up. I'm kind of a busy dude at the moment.
Just a bit.
I did all that this weekend. So that's where I should kind of finalize that conversation before I just drone on about my woes.
So for me,
T4 still sucks.
I worked on cleaning out the garage more, filled the car trailer completely to the brim with any scrap, went around the property and found all the little hidey spots, and want to just express hate to anyone that has stolen a vehicle and sold off parts and scrap parts and made it so hard for me to scrap parts.
Because you have parts of vehicles laying about your yard right
that
now?
I need desperately to get rid of, and nothing is sketchy on the least bit, but they're scared to even think about getting stuff.
You have vehicle parts, and you've acquired them all legally.
Correct.
But it's challenging to get them across the scales in a traditional
I just
fashion.
want to clean up my yard. I don't even care so much about the amount of money.
What do you
out of
think?
them.
What do you think that is impeding you in your yard?
I've literally asked questions, and if it's a door,
right, it has
Yeah.
right. But what modern door or you had a cow sitting in your backyard?
oh,
that
they
needed to
said
go away.
any door. They don't care what age. Where I specifically have been going to scrap, they don't want anything that looks like it.
You've got a lot of saws.
I do. That takes
It doesn't
a lot
have
of
to
time.
look like a door anymore.
It takes a lot of time, and I'm prepared. But I also might just show up here with a bunch of stuff.
I was going to say I figured that problem out years ago, and I'm not going to elaborate upon it on air. But
No. Anywho's, so also as part of that, I had to push the T out of the garage to use cutting equipment into the garage because my cord is too short now, and I end up using my extension cord to wire a machine. So,
oh my gosh,
Scott Brown problems.
And for people listening at home, this is your 220 cord.
Yes.
This is not just like your random household with extension cords. We're talking about a 220 extension.
But on the T, I did finish out welding the driver's door. That is basically done. It's ready for a light sand, and I could think about priming it. Also, working on the driver's side header. I had bought a header. Well, actually, this is the second set of headers. The first one was like totally not going to work. The second set was closer, and this is one of the frustrating things. So I cut it into a million parts, flanges off, all the tubes are separate at this point, that kind of thing. And I'm putting it back together piece by piece. And I found last night that the pieces that were supposed to be like this piece originally attached to that piece, and then this piece attached to that, they all went back in order, but we're talking about like slight clocking things different.
Oh gosh.
And to the point where like little wedges I had cut out, I'm like, where'd that go? I need that. So,
I thought it was neat seeing the car outside.
yeah, it's amazing too, because I see all the stuff it still needs, but the fact that it looks like a car, everybody's excited. I got
Correct.
some messages and everything like, "Oh, you're really kicking butt on it." You know, that kind of stuff. I'm excited. I'm glad it looks like a car. Makes me want to make some noise sooner than later.
Oh dear. Oh.
I know. So, anywho,
Scott has a truck for sale, folks. Selling his 68 C10, which he needs to actually make it go away.
so I actually am doing that. I have currently talking with a guy in Texas. So that's a good thing. It's far away. He wants to use it as a daily, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
And it's far enough south that
It makes sense.
He makes sense.
That's got a chance.
He's got a super clean, like 10 short bed, nice wheels on it. He's going to let that go, and he wants to do the vintage life. So other than that, you know, there's a bunch of stuff that stresses me out, like transport and how to get, you know,
Sounds like the buyer's problem, not yours.
transparency. And I know it is, but I'm that way. So
Hufflepuff.
Yeah, right.
So also part of my weekend was running around with taking videos of stuff and trying to show everything because I want him to be happy with his purchase when he gets it. I'm just that way.
Yeah.
So overall, it was a busy weekend. I did have also a friend pass away over the weekend as well. She had cancer, so it wasn't a big surprise, but still sucks. Again, glass half full. I'm glad she's not hurting anymore, but still sad that she's not around anymore as well. So that is the theme of the weekend.
Hufflepuff.
Yeah, without question.
Jeffrey, our favorite bar owner.
Well, actually, so we are ramping things up a lot at the bar. So I spent most of the weekend preparing for events that are coming up, including rearranging tables that were bolted to the floor, grinding bolts out, stuff like that. So we're going to be changing up the layout in the bar because we're making room for the stage. Starting Wednesday, we have open mic nights every Wednesday. Starting Thursday, we have trivia night every Thursday. Which
I saw trivia night coming. I thought that was exciting.
That's going to be really fun.
So you have to do a Jeep version.
Well, I can talk with the DJ that's running it, and we'll try to make something happen. But then also Easter Sunday, we're going to be doing a breakfast buffet. Adults are $25 a ticket. Kids are 15, and then under 3 and under are free. But we're doing an Easter egg hunt within the building. So you come in, buy a ticket for the buffet. Your kid gets to participate, gets a free little tote bag and everything, gets to collect eggs. And we'll hide a couple golden eggs that have adult prizes in them.
Oh,
that's fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's fun. I think that your ability and opportunity to be creative is excellent, and be community based with your business, especially where it's located. And those of you who might not be aware, it's beautiful right on the main strip in downtown Erie. And this is really, or not downtown.
It's downtown.
All right, I always get corrected on where downtown is.
That is downtown Erie.
Okay,
Peach Street is not downtown Erie on Upper Peach, where everybody seems to go shopping.
There you go.
Fired.
Yeah.
But this is really the time where Erie, Pennsylvania shines, right?
Yeah, we are just getting into the warm season where Erie is a tourist attraction in the summer.
Fantastic attraction. So if you're thinking about coming to visit us, because so many of our customers from out of state want to make it, time and energy make sense, Jeffrey's establishment, Voodoo Brewery, is a destination that you can go to. Have lunch there. Go down to the peninsula,
Especially since
or the bayfront.
You go from here down 20 to 5 and take that nice scenic
stunning,
way in.
gorgeous scenic ride.
All kinds of beaches along there. You can stop and find rocks and all that kind of stuff.
It leads you right to downtown Erie, and you can enjoy the food, the beer, pool tables, dartboards. We got a little bit of everything going.
3 or
Plus
4
the beautiful
roundabouts.
patio on nice weather.
Right. It definitely has a great opportunity for our out-of-state customers coming to visit this time of year. So, anywho, looking forward to how you continue to grow that, and everybody for joining in and jumping in the comments and sharing with us and hearing about things that you guys have done and offering your condolences to Scott and sharing with us where your sorting houses are. I've had a lot of fun. We're going to take a week off in the process.
Yep.
And if you're unable to reach, specifically me for that time frame, you know why. And I'm going to continue to kind of proliferate that on my social pages just to disconnect for a little bit before we ramp back up for the spring push. And next big thing we'll be kind of addressing is Jeep Beach and some other, spring and the show season begins. Mm-hmm. Until next time, Jeep on.
Jeep on.
Jeep on.